Hey everyone, before we get into our podcast for today, we have some somber news that I'm bringing to you. It's 9:30 at night, y'all. You're going to get this at midnight with our full show. But they had some events transpire after we recorded today, and I have been holding off bringing this to you. Woody and Mike are not here at this moment, but I wanted to make sure I got all the facts before I brought it to you, or as many facts as are available. And it's just a really sad, somber situation, y'all. A shooting has taken place in Denham Springs between a suspect and officers. I'm just going to cover with you what we know. And there's some things that we know that we're not going to cover with you, and I'll explain to you why. But officers responded to a disturbance in the office, what we would call the Office Depot Shopping Center in Denham Springs. And there's a lot of listeners out there that are from Livingston Parish. We have a really big base in Livingston Parish, Louisiana, and we're actually based out of Denham Springs. So officers responded to Spring Park Plaza in Denham Springs. It was around 4:20 this afternoon. It was a disturbance call, and when Denham Springs officers arrived on the scene, they were met with gunfire. One officer was hit multiple times, and that officer is currently at a local hospital with critical injuries. Woody and I both know this officer. He's been in this studio. He is a listener of Real Life, Real Crime, a lifer. And we are asking everyone for prayers for this officer. What I can tell you that we know is that there was a disturbance, basically an argument between the assailant and a female in the parking lot of this shopping center. Suspect started chasing the female, and somebody alerted the Denham Springs Police, who responded. When they responded, there was an exchange of gunfire. Some 10 gunshots were fired back and forth, and an officer was hit. At that point, the assailant fled, traveling down what's known as Range Avenue, very, very highly trafficked area in Denham Springs, Louisiana. And he went to a major intersection called Florida Boulevard. And that is where he was met by LPSO deputies, who then exchanged fire with him. And he was also brought to the hospital in critical condition. The suspect has died at a local hospital. We're going to bring you more information as we get it. To be honest, this is all I'm comfortable with saying at this time. And we're just asking for everybody out there to pray for this officer who was just doing his job and responding to a call for help. And he's now in the hospital in critical condition. For those of you in the Baton Rouge area, Denham Springs area, they are asking for blood donations today, Friday, May 12th, for this officer that was shot in the line of duty. Donations can be made at the Our Lady of the Lake Blood Donor Center. It's basically on the first floor of Our Lady of the Lake, which is a major hospital in Baton Rouge. Everybody knows where that is. It's on the first floor. You can donate blood there, and let the workers know the donation is for the Denham Springs Police Officer when donating. That is today from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They're offering free parking, and it's on the first floor of OLOL near the elevators. And now we'll move on to today's episode of Real Life, Real Crime Daily. Hey everyone, and welcome to Real Life, Real Crime Daily for Friday, May 12th. And I'm Jim Chapman.
I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
TGIF.
That's right.
It's a happy Friday, but it's going to be an even happier Sunday for some people.
That's right.
Yeah, I got a lot of moms.
Everybody's prepared for that.
Got
right?
a couple of them I'm preparing for.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
everybody's set on that. You know how these holidays kind of come down to, if it's a neutral holiday, it becomes the woman's holiday. Like Valentine's Day is a woman's.
I don't do Valentine's Day. Told you that.
That's right. You told me that on Valentine's Day. I thought you were bullshit.
That's a man-made.
I thought you were bullshit. You don't do Valentine's Day.
Everybody has to do Mama's Day.
How do you withdraw from the Valentine's Club? I mean, is that a formal thing?
Same way I formally withdraw from anniversaries and bullshit like that.
Okay, so in your house, there's no anniversaries. There's no Valentine's Day.
Anniversary every day in my house.
Okay,
but I don't have to give it 1 day a year.
So it's a 365-day year celebration.
Absolutely.
You don't stop for 1 day to do something.
Right.
Very good.
So I don't have to buy chocolates for that shit.
And love is in the air 365 days a year. Right. So there's no need to Valentine's Day to celebrate.
I don't need any cards and chocolates and roses.
And Jesus is in your life 365 days a year. So there's no reason to stop and do anything on December 25th.
I do. I celebrate that, but more importantly, I'll celebrate Easter.
Okay. The holidays in the Overton household are interesting. Well,
now Mother's Day, that should get celebrated.
Okay, well, we're going to talk a little bit about Mother's Day, but I think we should do it at the end of the episode.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Okay, so let's save that one and let's get cranking on some crime.
Yeah, we got a few updates for you. And several episodes ago, we talked to you about a South Carolina bride who was actually killed by a drunk driver on her golf cart. Well, police have provided an update that we're going to bring to you right now. And lawyers for the accused drunk driver, Jamie Lee Komersky, who police say killed bride Samantha Miller and seriously injured the groom on their wedding day, urged the public not to rush to judgment. Of course,
none of us have. None of us have.
Yeah, there's no rush to judgment here.
Defense attorneys, right?
Yeah. So Komersky, 25, hired Nathan S. Williams and Christopher S. Buttafuoco last week to defend her criminal case for allegedly crashing her red Toyota Camry into the couple's golf cart minutes after they left their reception, if you'll remember. The high-profile attorneys are former federal prosecutors, and in a statement they said, "We cannot fathom what families are going through and offer our deepest sympathies. We simply ask that there not be a rush to judgment." Komersky is accused of plying her sedan into the back of a golf cart carrying Miller, Hutchison, and two family members in Folly Beach, South Carolina. She was allegedly driving 65 miles an hour, more than double the posted speed limit when she rear-ended the golf cart. And the golf cart, y'all, was thrown more than 100 yards and rolled several times.
Reserve judgment, Jim.
Yeah. Hold back that judgment. Miller, who was still in her wedding dress, was killed instantly, according to her sister. Police asked Komersky to perform a field sobriety test, but she refused and became uncooperative on the scene. Good luck to Miss Komersky and her high-priced legal team.
Real quick, you said it correctly. Hired high-priced legal team. Guess what? Two things that happened just then. First of all, he got free publicity in the media by coming out, and of course they're going to cover it just like we're covering it because it's an update on a horrible tragedy. But he got his face in his mug, and we got to give him a free plug this morning, right?
Right.
So you got that, and
it's not really a plug because Jim didn't get close to that name, so no one's going to find it for that.
That's true.
That's actually a good point.
So the second thing is, he got paid all this money to do it, and he's not going to come out and say, guess what? My client fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? So he's getting reserve judgment. Okay, we reserve it for the jury, asshole.
Yeah.
Because it'll never go to trial.
Yeah.
I actually reserve it for the prosecution. Whatever.
Horrible story.
I would not have pegged that woman to have had deep pockets to go bring in.
Are
those guys at the Murdaugh law firm? I think.
But here's the deal. Even if
we're in South Carolina,
even if they're not paying it, and so many times in high-profile cases, the biggest name lawyers come in and jump at pro bono because they get the free plugs from Real Life Real Crime Daily, even though Jim effed up the name, and all the other news organizations. Right? It's better than having a fee because they get the publicity.
Yeah,
it's free advertising.
Yeah, so the next time some awful human being does something incredibly terrible in the state of South Carolina, call one of those guys and they'll be happy to represent you.
I'm sure they got a lot of paying clients that are calling them now.
Yeah, likely. Let's go back to Allen, Texas, briefly, because in the days after the names start getting released and people start connecting dots about exactly who's been killed, and every single one of these deaths and injuries are tragic. I was struck by the impact on one family in particular, and it's the Cho family. And especially as we approach Mother's Day, it's hard to think about this kind of stuff. But according to KDFW TV, the Cho family, the parents are Cindy, the husband Caillou, and their two young sons, William and James. All four of them went to the mall that day to return clothes that William had received for his 6th birthday, which was just a couple of days prior to the shooting. An afternoon that should have been filled with light, love, and celebration, unfortunately, was cut short by another mass shooting massacre that left 8 victims dead. That is what is written on the GoFundMe that was started for the family. Cindy, Caillou, and 3-year-old James were all among the victims killed that day. So 3 of the 4 family members killed. William, the other son who had had the birthday a few days earlier, is the only surviving member of the family. He's still recovering in ICU. He was hit and hurt pretty badly. I can't think of a GoFundMe that deserves support more than the one for the Cho family in Dallas, and the challenges that William is going to face the rest of his life, and the way that those memories of those fleeting seconds are going to be indelibly marked on his brain for the rest of his life. It's incredibly sad, and thought we should share that story with you.
Yeah, and another tragedy, and we told you about on a previous episode. I don't know what to think about it, y'all. And when this next story I'm going to tell you is also out of Texas, and holy smokes, this makes me want to flip this table and just beat everybody's ass. So parents in Texas are outraged after a 6-year-old girl was allegedly forced to perform a sex act on a fellow student in their classroom while students recorded the incident on a district-issued iPad. According to the Plainview Herald, which cited Plainview Independent School District, the district confirmed the incident occurred in an area of the classroom where the teacher could not see. Now, we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
right?
There shouldn't be such a thing.
I mean, that's bullshit. It wasn't until the next day when the teacher noticed the iPad was locked with a passcode and sent it to their IT department to be unlocked, y'all. After it was unlocked, she saw this disturbing video. Speaking with KCBD TV, the girl's older cousin said the family became aware of the incident after noticing a change in her behavior. She's in distress. She's like, my stomach hurts. I just want to lay down, the cousin told the outlet. You can tell something's wrong with her. So they said, what's going on? What happened? The girl told family members she was pulled underneath a desk where she was forced to perform the act on the male student in April. The girl says she hit the boy with a book and fought back until they let me go, the cousin said. In another instance, she said a student exposed himself to other students in the lunch line. According to KCBD, the cousin claims the school district was not forthright in notifying the girl's parents about the alleged incidents. Everything was no comment. I cannot tell you, no comment. So you mean to tell me abuse has been happening for a week and a half, and these kids are still at the same desk. My cousin is still at a desk with all boys, having to see her abusers every day. On Friday, parents protested outside the school district administration building, demanding the superintendent, school principal, and teacher involved be fired. According to the school district, the teacher has been placed on administrative leave, and Child Protective Services is investigating. On its website, the district announced classes on Monday were canceled, citing violence threats regarding the matter under investigation. Now, let's talk about it. All right. My wife was a teacher till we were able to retire her. Now she works for Real Life of Crime full time. And yeah, I've been in school. Y'all been in school, right? What in the fuck was this teacher doing? Writing on a chalkboard where this kid's underneath a desk. You don't notice two kids underneath the desk. You think those kids weren't giggling and shit? And some kids filming it on the iPad. A six-year-old being forced to give oral sex or rape. I guess it's a kid rape. It's being raped by another little boy.
Disgusting.
I have no excuse. And the thing about somebody whipping out their tool in the lunch line, what's going on with this place?
Well, look, it's
the motherfuckers would be dead if it was my kid. My kid's grown, but
I think that's the larger point is what is going on in this country to where kids this age are getting, and I guarantee you it's this, which is in the hands of those kids. So they have the internet at their fingertips, and parents either don't know or don't care enough to put the proper security on the phone. They get access to things they should never have access to. And a 6-year-old knows things today we probably didn't learn until we were 13.
But Mike, I agree with you on that point, the access to stuff. But here's the deal. In a lot of these cases that I work, where it was a lot where kids were offended against other kids, that kid that's doing the offending was offended against by some adult or some older kid. It's a learned behavior that you don't just start out forcing somebody else to suck your penis. But
I could see that too. I could also see them.
But I'm telling you from. Oh yeah, I definitely could see them watching it. But I'm telling you from probably 100 cases I worked where it's kid on kids, and we ended up wrestling an adult or an older teenager. But it doesn't matter. Fuck, you send your kid to school, and how big can this classroom be where the teacher is so busy that other kids can take an iPad and video this little girl having a penis stuck in her mouth?
Look, you have a unbelievable problem in this country right now with what's going on in schools.
No doubt about
and
that.
You've got people at record rates pulling their kids, especially out of public schools, to homeschool them because they just don't trust what's going on in the school. Sometimes that's a political thing. Sometimes it's a safety thing, but it's happening in a very big way. And stories like that are why it's happening.
And you may not know this about me, but my 3 oldest, 24, 23, 21, and then we have our son who's almost 13. And guess what? He's homeschooled now. Okay? I'm not putting my kid in this shit show. Not only the mass shootings and everything else, but this kind of bullshit. And I just think the world has changed, and thankfully my wife is a teacher and can teach him, and he spends less time. He gets more done in a couple hours than he would do the whole school day, and he's tested out everything else. But the deal is, fuck that. Why am I sending my kids to school where all this bullshit? It could be like eating the bad candy the other day we talked about, and it was meth or whatever, or being raped and filmed. How the fuck? I don't get it.
School has become a dangerous place.
Well,
I've done too many of these cases, but to hear this kind of shit, and maybe they're going to come out and say this is all bullshit. I would hope that this is fake news.
They've got
but
it
I'm
on
sure
video.
it's not.
They've got the video.
Well, they say they have it on the video. But.
and of course, this is look. There's some teachers out there. Kelly Jennings
Yep.
Unspeakable is one of the best criminal justice teachers
Right.
probably in the country in high school, and it would fuck somebody up in a heartbeat
Right.
if she caught
She'd
that.
beat that ass.
So there
She'd-
are
she'd
some,
lost her
you
job.
know, of course, we're not throwing shade on all schools or all teachers.
I don't
but-
think it's really I don't know, man. Maybe the teacher was out of the classroom. Maybe she was doing whatever, not paying. I'm not throwing shade on the teacher. I mean, I'm throwing shade on just everything on.
Yeah, how does it happen?
How
is
does
the,
it happen?
The question.
And have where the teacher doesn't know that I guess I am throwing
Well,
shade on the
that teacher may
doesn't
very well be
doesn't know that the
an idiot.
iPad is missing.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't that shit be on your desk? What do you do? I mean, my teacher was at the chalkboard and had the back term. I was throwing spitballs and making them stick to the roof, right?
Yeah.
And everybody laughed and giggled. The teacher turned around, couldn't figure out what it was, and shit like that. But I wasn't raping anybody. And if my teacher turned around and she couldn't see me, you better believe they come to find you.
Something tells me that happened more than once.
Yeah.
Well,
Shit did happen a couple of years ago at a Mexican restaurant. It's still stuck up there. My son laughs about it every time we go.
there's stuff hopefully we'll learn that will
I
that will
don't
come
know,
out,
man.
but I don't know how the dimensions of the class, how many kids are in the class,
I don't
whether
know.
there used to be a teacher's aide in the class and there isn't anymore. I mean, all kinds of other things, but for sure, the job, the responsibility that teacher has been made more difficult. It is more difficult today than it used to be because of a lot of what we were talking about with.
Don't you know when she had to send it to IT to have the passcode broken and she saw that video, she's like, "Ooh, I just lost my motherfucking job."
Oh,
Right?
I'm sure.
It's at the very least the concern. But,
yeah. It's just crazy situation.
I'm sorry.
School
but
district
I didn't
is
mean to go
definitely
off.
going to
Didn't mean to go off.
going to have to reach in their pocket on that one. I would.
Well, you know what? That I was just thinking that, but on this case, it wouldn't even be about money. From if it was my kid, it'd be about these assholes going to prison or whoever. Somebody's got to be held. Yeah, money would be a part, but money doesn't retract what happened to that 6-year-old baby. It'll never replace it. Just like on the Wu family or whoever.
Can you
you're talking
expel
about.
a 6-year-old kid?
Fuck yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You can-
Where do
you
they
can
put
certainly-
it? Where do they put a 6-year-old kid?
I don't know.
Alternative schools.
They reform.
I mean,
type
yeah, but
environment.
not like it used to be.
Hey, I mean,
You know.
you know, stuff happens. I had a 6-year-old who was poisoned its little 1.5-year-old baby sister's bottle with putting bleach in it. And that's one of the youngest polygraphs I ever ran. Of course, I got the confession out of the kid, and the parents wanted to know, but certainly that kid needed mental help, right? I don't know. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference God will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Next.
All right, let's move to Utah. So a Utah mother who wrote a children's book about how to cope with grief after her husband's death last year is accused of poisoning him with a lethal dose of fentanyl after she served him a celebratory Moscow Mule. Y'all know what a Moscow Mule is?
Yes, I do. Shay McBride.
What is a Moscow Mule?
It is served in a copper cup, and it's a vodka drink.
There you go. So Corey Richens, 33, was arrested Monday on charges of aggravated murder and 3 counts of possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. Her attorneys did not respond to requests by the RLRC DI team for comment, but Richens' husband, Eric Richens, died at their home about 40 miles southeast of Salt Lake City. Now, this was back in 2022. Sheriff's deputies responded after Richens called 911 to report she had found him unresponsive in the bedroom. Deputies found him on the floor at the foot of the bed. Life-saving measures were attempted, but he was declared dead. Now, before her husband's death, Richens asked an acquaintance for something strong. Some of the Michael Jackson stuff is what she actually was quoted as saying. The acquaintance got dozens of fentanyl pills for her, and she told investigators that the night before her husband died, they were celebrating because she had closed on a home for her business. She said that she made him a Moscow Mule in the kitchen, took it to the bedroom, and that he drank it. She told investigators that she slept in one of her children's bedrooms because the child had a night terror. She allegedly woke up around 3 a.m. and found her husband was in the bedroom, cold to the touch. She told deputies she left her cell phone in her bedroom and did not take it to her child's room. Investigators later learned that her phone had been locked and unlocked several times, and it showed movement during the time frame she said she was in her child's room. Text messages were sent and received and then had been deleted. At the time of Eric Richens' death, the only people in the home were the couple and their 3 young sons. She posted a video collage of her husband and children on Facebook and wrote in a caption that life had been hard without him just recently. The cards I have been dealt seem like a game that just can't be played, she posted, and added the hashtag please come home. Jeez. Investigators said an autopsy and toxicology report found that Eric Richens died from fentanyl, and the medical examiner said he had 5 times the lethal dosage in his system and that it was illicit fentanyl and not medical grade. It's also believed he ingested the drugs orally. Authorities accused Richens of having obtained the fentanyl pills from an acquaintance identified as CL. They also allege Eric Richens had told a friend that he believed his wife tried to poison him after a Valentine's Day dinner just weeks before he died. A search with a warrant showed several communications on Corey Richens' phone between her and the acquaintance. The acquaintance, who had multiple drug charges, no surprise there, told investigators that Richens had reached out from December of 21 to February of 22 and asked for prescription pain medicine for an investor who had a back injury. Within a few days, CL produced hydrocodone pills from the dealer. Defendant told CL to leave the pills at the house. The acquaintance got 15 to 30 fentanyl pills delivered to them. They paid $900 for the drugs. 3 days later, Eric Richens became ill after a Valentine's Day dinner at the home of his wife. Eric believed that he had been poisoned. Eric told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. And about 2 weeks later, the defendant called CL again and said that her investor wanted something stronger, and that's when she asked for the Michael Jackson stuff. Yeah, so she again paid $900 for the drugs. Days later, her husband was dead. Sheriff's office declined to answer questions about the case, saying it was being handled by the attorney's office. Please keep in mind there are 3 young children belonging to a decent and the accused, making this matter very sensitive and difficult, she said in an email.
Crazy.
A detention hearing is scheduled for May 19th. So really crazy, bizarre story coming out of Utah.
Well, and she writes this book about how she's grieving. Right? It was
a children's book on how to deal with grief.
Book on how to deal with grief.
Yeah,
but that was before she killed him.
She looks like the president of the PTA.
Yeah,
I mean, this, sweet Polly purebred.
There he goes again, sexist Woody Overton.
Lookism.
Lookism.
Oh my God.
Lookism. They all got to look the part.
Well, let's go from lookism to ageism, shall we?
All right.
There's a good segue. How love life? Pretty good. You feeling pretty viral these days?
Oh yeah. Hey, strong like bull.
No issues. Strong like bull. Jim still
Anaconda, baby.
That's right. You talking to Anaconda? You got to ask him for.
Mike's got a prescription or two.
Right. That's right.
Hey. When you get
a little blue pill every now and then, Michael.
I am. You need a little.
Jack Nicholson said that's the greatest recreational drug ever invented, and I have to agree.
Every now and then. I almost fell down the other day when I saw that actor Robert De Niro,
oh my God,
at age 79, had fathered another child. In my opinion, that is a sex crime. Yeah, it's a crime that he's having sex at 79, but having another kid at 79.
I mean, give him props for having the sex part, but the having the kid part is.
He said it's always good and mysterious when he was asked about having another child, and you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Okay, that's kind of weird. He already has, so he has a daughter, Drina, who's 51, a son, Raphael, who's 46. Those are from his first marriage. He has twins, Julian and Aaron, they're 27. He has Elliot, who's 24, and he has Helen Grace, who is 11 from his second marriage. So now you're this baby, and I searched. I could not find any information as to whether Drina, who is the 51-year-old daughter, was a grandparent or not. I know she's had kids, but I don't know if she herself is a grandparent. But can you imagine your grandmother introducing you to her sister, who is actually younger than you?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
I think the crime of it is he won't be there for probably her pre-K.
Well, he is Robert De Niro.
He could go.
You talked to him.
He also could die right now.
My mother had a situation like this.
We did the story. It's 78 for the United States.
For men, it might even be 70.
My mother had a situation where she had an aunt who was actually younger than her. But it's one thing when it's an aunt. Yeah. So one of her sisters had a daughter before she was even born.
Right.
right? My mother. But this one, I mean, that's the weirdest thing. 51 years difference between the oldest and the
Well, I mean,
youngest
it's
kid,
safe
and
to say De
79.
Niro won't be teaching the kid how to swim or throw the frisbee. Or
Well, it's funny you mentioned swim because I got curious on this. And so I turned to the Real Life, Real Crime Daily analytics team and found out that sperm motility decreases by 0.8% per year of age. So when you're comparing the sperm of someone in their 30s with someone in their 50s, the men in their 50s have about half as much motility in their sperm. So they're not swimming anywhere near as well as they could swim in their 50s. A man in his 80s, which is basically where De Niro is, would have 80% less motility. He might have gone through a special treatment.
I was going to say, we don't even know he was knocking boots. They might have sucked it out of him.
Oh, no. This is.
How do we know?
The story is that this was the real deal.
This
wasn't about anything frozen somewhere.
Yeah, but he's not going to say that. I jacked off in a cup and they put it in her. You know what I mean?
Well, why wouldn't he? People in Hollywood do that all the time.
Well, that's. I would.
No, he's.
I'd be like, I'm sitting now. I'm knocking boots. Y'all give me shit.
The approach is that this was.
I did it froggy
This
style.
was live action. This was not. This was live action.
They should have done a porno.
And
It might
anyway,
have.
I'm just saying.
Talking to me.
Chances. I mean, that had to be like Mark Spitz, the sperm,
Lord.
in order to be able to, get
Mark
that's
Spitz.
like a harder shot than Luke at the Death Star.
Do you know how long sperm can live in the female body after ejaculation?
How long?
72 hours. It's in criminal
That's
cases.
interesting.
That's what I know. You find the sperm and if it's still alive, viable, whatever, it can live.
Okay, well, he might have been in there for
72
72 hours, but unless he could catch an Uber and get to where he had to get to, I don't get it. Congratulations, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, we ain't hanging
on
with
your
him.
newest.
I think Mike's a little jealous of De Niro.
a new daddy, or with all the money it's going to have left to him.
All right, y'all, we're going to bring you a story out of Louisiana, and a homeowner named David Doyle is accused of shooting a 14-year-old girl while playing hide and seek in his backyard.
There we go.
Yeah, this is horrible. Doyle has been charged with aggravated battery, 4 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm, and illegal discharge of a firearm. A 14-year-old was shot in the back of her head after authorities say a homeowner opened fire while she was playing hide and seek. And amazingly, she suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Louisiana homeowner David Doyle told officials after the incident took place on Sunday that he went inside his home to retrieve his firearm after he observed shadows outside his home. An initial investigation showed that multiple individuals were playing on his property where the incident took place. Doyle told detectives that he unknowingly hit an unidentified teenager after he just began shooting at the individuals when they were running away from the property. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad and illegal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she was transported to an out-of-town hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. While the incident remains under investigation, he has been arrested and charged with aggravated battery, illegal discharge of a firearm, and 4 counts of aggravated assault. So a couple of comments on this story. And I was a little torn initially because, look, it's nighttime. There's people in your backyard. Anyone as a homeowner, if you don't know they're back there or who they are, you're grabbing your gun and you're going to investigate. The major issue, Woody, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is the fact that she was running away when he shot her.
Here's the deal. You have a right to defend your home, right? And your family and even your property to a certain extent, but you do not have the right to shoot into the dark at moving objects. You still have this is going to be negligent. If they had died, it'd be negligent homicide because you showed such lack of care that a normal, reasonable person would have shown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you could have popped a cup off in the air. the best thing to do would have been call 911 and stay behind your door. And, if they're trying to come through your door, then shoot through the door. If you're trying to kick in my door, I can shoot through my door and kill you. That's illegal. I got shadows running around my backyard. You just can't go out there and start popping off caps. But you don't know what you're shooting. I mean, he's and it should have been second degree aggravated battery because it's with a weapon, and they went in the hospital, which is the same thing as attempted murder. But I mean, I'm all for the gun rights and defending your home and everything else. I mean, it's in the Constitution, but that's bullshit.
Well, and it's also important if you're a gun owner, if you concealed carry classes teach this, but anytime you pull a gun, you need, number one, you need to make dang sure what you're shooting at. Number two, if you're a homeowner and you have a family, one of the big issues that people have is they wake up in the middle of the night, someone's moving around their house, they end up shooting their own damn kid.
Right.
Because they don't make that identification.
Right.
And their kid comes in after a night out or something and they're not expecting it and they think someone's breaking in their house. It happens all the time, and you have to be responsible with these freaking handguns.
Yeah, but the thing is, these people weren't in his house.
Yeah.
He just saw some shadows running around his backyard and goes out and starts busting cats. First of all, you could call 911, lock the door. You could hide in the bathroom if you want to. You hear somebody trying to get in the door, then you start shooting.
Right.
I mean, you just
Fire a warning shot into the sky.
Yeah, fire a couple rounds off. Nothing clears a backyard or a crowd like a little gunfire.
That's right.
But don't shoot them.
Yeah.
How old was the kid?
14.
There you go.
Yeah, that story should have had banjos in the front. I mean, that guy.
It takes all kinds
We got banjos coming.
We got banjos.
And that guy gives bad names to everybody that has a Second Amendment right. But
Right on.
Whatever. So now, y'all, I'm going to take you to a case that's always fascinated me. And I've thought about it a lot over the years, and this got proven out anyway. But I'm going to tell you about, and I'm sure, unless you were living under a rock or not born yet, the Natalie Holloway, suspect Joran Vandersloot, is to be extradited to the U.S. Natalie's mom, Beth, says. So Joran is serving prison sentence for killing a 21-year-old Peruvian woman, y'all. Do you remember that? It was 5 years after the date that Natalie went missing, and all the shit that he went through on that. He goes to a casino somewhere in Peru, and he brings this girl back to the room, and they show him leaving the room and checking out, and they go in and they find her dead, right? So he's serving that time, but he's being extradited to the U.S. now because he was doing extortion on Natalie's mom, Beth Holloway. He was contacting her from a prison in Peru saying, "Hey, I'll tell you where her body's at. Give me $10,000. I'll tell you where her body's at."
God.
And they actually set up the sting on and did it. And of course, he didn't tell where the body was. Right? He was just trying to get the money. So now they're extraditing him for that. And Gustavo Meza Quadra, Peru's ambassador to the U.S., said he hopes this action will enable a process that will help to bring peace to Miss Holloway and to her family, who are grieving in the same way that the Flores family in Peru is grieving for the loss of their daughter. Vandersloot is one of the main suspects in the disappearance. No, y'all, he's the suspect of Holloway, who failed to appear for her flight home to Alabama on May 30th, 2005 in Aruba. The 18-year-old was last seen leaving a bar that morning with young Dutchman. They're talking about Natalie Holloway was seen leaving on film with Vandersloot. Her body was never found, and ensuing searches for the young woman would reap intense media scrutiny and worldwide attention. Of course, Vandersloot got arrested for Holloway's disappearance. There was a lot to that. Y'all go look it up. But he was released due to lack of evidence because their laws are shit done different than ours, that you can hold him for X amount of time and all this. And his daddy was a judge and shit like that. So he ended up getting off scot-free in the end for Natalie Holloway's disappearance. I'm saying he murdered her, and he can sue me. I'm saying he murdered her, but then the beast came out again 5 years later, and when he murdered the young Miss Flores.
Yeah.
So, but now he's getting extradited to the U.S. and he's going to face some charges. Oh, although I'm pretty sure Peru prison is worse than the U.S. prison, but maybe not. I don't know. He's going to have a tough time if he goes to a U.S. prison.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it. I was a detective when that happened, by the way, and I was just like, man, I want to go down to Aruba and find that Nellie's body.
Yeah, and these people have families that just look. Everybody with a brain knows that dude did it.
Yeah,
and I cannot imagine if that were my daughter or family member, and this guy's in my mind getting away with it.
And he was smirking and
alive.
Shit and laughing at the cameras.
Yeah.
And he just because it was an island. He knew. I mean, he lived on the island. He knew the sharks were or whatever. And his little buddies that helped him, and actually who rolled on him and all that stuff. And then whatever the hell or jail. He's going to pay one way or another. And hey, wherever he goes in the U.S., if he gets sentenced, y'all give him a little inmate justice.
18 years of no closure.
Little girl was on her senior trip, man. Senior trip. That's it.
Awful.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Probably
Well, hopefully some justice is coming.
Right. He's going to get it one way or another.
Yeah.
probably the least glorified position on the football field is the punter. And maybe the field goal kicker is close, but
Punters,
I think
I would
punter's
say,
probably
is
the
the
least
worst.
glorified.
You obviously have never heard of Ray Guy.
I have heard of Ray Guy. There's been an occasional punter who was so good that they sort of broke out of that mold. But for the most part, being the punter is not a glorified position. Right. Those guys are not generally drafted. They're usually free agents and sign with teams for a small amount of money and hopefully
the league minimum is like $250. That's not small. I mean,
and hopefully they break out.
We understand
and
that's not even your light bill, Mike. But us
last month it wasn't. Hopefully they break out in a tryout and stick with the team. And if they become a mainstay punter,
right.
They can make a good deal of money and they can earn an NFL pension and have a nice life. But it's a tough path to the NFL as a kicker or as a punter. There's a guy last summer that came out of San Diego State University named Matt Areza, who caught a lot of people's attention last summer during his time with the Buffalo Bills. This guy had an 82-yard punt.
Wow.
He had hang times on his punt that were as good as anyone in the league has ever had, and he was somewhat of an internet sensation and looking like he was about to become the Buffalo Bills punter. And then on August 25th, so NFL season, by the end of August, you're cutting down, and your first games are first few days in September, first week or so in September. And so August 25th, as it's looking like he is going to become the Buffalo Bills punter, a lawsuit is filed back in San Diego claiming that Areza was part of a gang of students at San Diego State that allegedly raped a 17-year-old girl at the school. 2 days later, the Bills released Areza.
Right.
So the lawsuit gets filed. By the way, I didn't say this. The accuser in this case is, or did I say 17-year-old? I did say she was 17-year-old. So we have an underage, which is under the age of consent in California. So the Bills had whatever internal discussions they had, and they decided that they couldn't risk holding on to this guy despite
they didn't even want the negative publicity.
Despite him going to them and saying, look, I was not part of anything like that. And so the lawsuit states that Areza, who was 21 at the time, led the girl to the side of a house in San Diego and asked her to perform oral sex on him before, and then they had actual sexual intercourse after that. This is according to Areza. According to the lawsuit, Areza then took her inside the home where at least 3 other men, including the other 2 defendants who are named in the suit, former San Diego State teammates of his, Xavier Leonard and Nolan Iwaliko. The woman, once inside the house, claimed that she had been raped for 1.5 hours. The girl reported the alleged rape the following day to San Diego Police Department, which investigated those allegations, and it actually took them 9 months before they turned the investigation over to prosecutors. And what ends up happening in this case is they find out that because there's video and there's timestamp on the video, they find out that Areza had left before the rapes took place. And so he has got basically exculpatory evidence to the point where they dropped all charges against him in the case. But that all came recently, way late for certainly for last football season. And now the big question is, will another team pick this guy up, invite him to camp, and have him try out?
You kept referencing the suit. Who brought a suit?
The woman, the 17-year-old.
So she's suing.
Yeah.
She
named him along with those other
Right.
two people, and he said he wasn't there. Yeah. Another witness said he wasn't there, and then video footage showed he wasn't there at the quote time of the rape.
Yeah.
He does not dispute them going outside and having oral sex and then sex, but says that was all consensual.
Yeah, well, then that's the gray area. Then I mean, we don't know if she's saying that was rape too.
Well, she didn't go there originally. She pointed to everything supposedly happened in the house, and there's no camera or anything that captured anything, or audio that captured anything that happened out of the house. So the prosecutor said that Matt Areza was not present when the alleged gang rape of a minor occurred. at that October party. And according to witness testimony, which was included in evidence that prompted the San Diego DA to not pass criminal charges against the former Buffalo Bills punter. So he is a free man, and the question is, where does that leave Reza? Does he get a chance to pick up with another team in the NFL?
I don't know. You can't draft punters on DraftKings on fantasy teams.
No,
but we will follow
important.
up on it. I'm sure. I mean, if he makes it to the NFL, then
I mean, he's at the end of the day, he still had sex with a minor.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, no matter what way you slice or dice it.
That's true.
A big part of the story is she lied about her age. She told everyone, and she admitted that
it doesn't matter.
She admitted that well, apparently it does in California. She admitted she told everyone that she was 18 and admitted that she had done that.
I mean, Woody, what's the law here in Louisiana on something like that?
Actually, the law in Louisiana is 17. You really can consent.
But if you're 16 and you say you're 18,
then ignorance of the age is no excuse. If you rape, you rape. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they say I'm 21 and you rape them, it's still rape.
Okay.
The district attorney's office was unable to prove that there was awareness of the then 17-year-old's age or her intoxication level. At least 2 witnesses at the party allegedly heard the girl say she was 18, while others say they didn't recall her age coming up.
We'll keep it tuned, and we'll know because I watch every NFL game. If
This guy will make.
If he's kicking, then we'll give you the update.
He could be in a Saints uniform in the fall.
Oh, could be. I don't know.
And by the way, if this was a quarterback or a running back on the team, they never would have cut him. They would have held on and waited to see what happened.
Oh, hey, San Diego State has one of the best criminology programs in the United States of America.
Really?
Yep.
Very interesting. Oh. You know what it's time for now.
KBLX, The Quiet Storm.
It's about to get kinky up in here.
Kinky crimes for Friday, May 12th. All right, y'all, listen to this one. We've told you some really, really bizarre, kinky crimes on Real Life, Real Crime Daily. This one is up there, and it's called Totally Gross. So an evening manager of a Tennessee hotel was arrested after he snuck into a man's room and, any guesses, y'all? Sucked on his toes, according to police. All right. David Neal, a 52-year-old manager at this hotel that I've stayed at, the 4th Avenue South Hilton Hotel
a nice
in Nashville.
hotel.
Like, it's a lot. It's like almost $500 a night with taxes and stuff. But in Nashville, so the manager, David Neal, allegedly crept into a male guest room while he was sleeping on March the 30th and got intimate with his feet. According to Nashville Metropolitan Police, Neal made a key card, because he's a manager, to get into the room and entered around 5 a.m. The guest told police he woke up to Neal's mouth around his toes and immediately confronted him.
Let me get them
Imagine
pinky
that.
toes.
He recognized Neal as one of the hotel employees who came into his room the day before to fix his TV. Neal admitted to police that he entered the room, but claimed he did so because he smelled smoke and wanted to make sure the guest was okay.
That makes sense.
So smoking toe cheese, maybe. Police said Neal never reported smelling smoke to security, and there was no other reports of guests or staff smelling smoke at the hotel. The room key was not recovered, cops said. Neal told investigators that he had thrown it away. He was arrested at his home on Friday and charged with aggravated burglary and assault, and he's jailed on a $27,000 bond. Let me tell you something. Why didn't he pick one of Mike's lookism fine girls to suck on her toes? He picked a male. Maybe he had him scouted out.
The guy had
before.
exceptional toes.
There we go. Lookism about toes now.
Yeah, so maybe he checked in wearing sandals.
We did a toe store before.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And then I tell you about all the fetishes and shit. I try to figure out where they come from and stuff. And I told you maybe somebody's mama put their toes in their mouth or something when they're a kid and they grow up to have it. I don't get it. I have a fixation on that.
Yeah, I'm not a toe
I guarantee
person,
you, there's probably 10,000 listeners right now. That
I
love to
get
have
it.
their
I'm not
toes
knocking it.
sucked.
I'm just saying I don't get where it comes. I wish y'all.
I don't either.
If you have a fetish
I'm
with
not
it,
into
please
that.
let me know. You can message me anonymously. Please let me know. Let me know how.
I can message you.
How you got
Please
turned on
message.
by toes. Yeah.
Please,
No,
we will never tell your name.
I need to put that in like I know where golden showers come from. I know where all the other stuff come from. I just don't.
Wait, you understand the motivation for a golden shower?
I do. Do you need me to tell you? Anyway, I don't have to go into it right now. It's King Crime's time. But you give me a fetish, I can just about figure out and tell you where it came from, except for the toes.
All right, so we're putting a all
that's Kiki
out
Crime.
request to all
Tell us
viewers.
about your
if you got a little toe
Why-
fetish,
what started
let us
your
know.
toe fetish.
Love
Kiki
it.
Crimes.
Uh-oh.
Mike lives for this moment.
You cut me off there. I wanted another second or two of I was just getting the banjo.
We're gonna get you a banjo for Christmas.
Banjo rhythm. Okay, today's moron comes from the great state of Kansas.
By the way, y'all, this is Dumb Criminals. Mike forgot to introduce this segment. I know y'all know what the banjos mean. We got new listeners too.
The audience understands.
They understand now because I told them.
They know what the banjos signal. They signal a dumb criminal in
Dumb
Kansas
criminal.
who was wearing a Bud Light costume when he got arrested. No. He wasn't arrested by some conservative cop protesting his brand choice. We're not going down that path. Deputies in Kansas shared a case of life imitating art after pulling over a suspected intoxicated driver who was dressed in a beer can costume on Cinco de Mayo. The driver was stopped in the northbound lanes of I-35 near the town of Ottawa on May 5th after other motorists notified deputies that he was showing signs of possibly driving under the influence. After the driver pulled over, Franklin County Sheriff's Office said the deputies were shocked to see the driver was wearing a costume of a Bud Light can.
Nice.
Quote, a career in law enforcement is exciting and you get to experience something new every day, the sheriff's office said. Sometimes you see things you just can't believe. So this particular sheriff was very surprised
Greatest show on earth.
by the Bud Light can. The suspect eventually posted bond and was released from custody, according to Fox 4 in Kansas City. I think this guy got really drunk at this party because he brought all his Bud Light and nobody else was drinking any of it. And that's probably why he got hammered, because the rumor is their sales are down for some reason. They've had a rough
Can't imagine why.
We'll look into that. I'll get the I-team started on that.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. I'm gonna drink my beer.
That was a dumb criminal.
Dumb
No doubt
criminal.
about it. No doubt about it.
Banjos.
All right, y'all. You know what that means. Today in True Crime. This day.
I love my history.
May 12th, y'all. And I've got a good one. Woody, if you love history, you're going to know this story frontward and backward. And that is in 1932, Charles Lindbergh's baby was found dead after a kidnapping. Yep. Now, after an anxious 2 months, 12 ransom notes, and $50,000 being handed over, which in 1932, right after the Depression, was like $1 trillion now. Right. The accidental discovery of the body was found. A truck worker had stopped to relieve himself a few miles from the Lindbergh home and found the crushed head and decomposed body of baby Charles. The coroner's examination revealed he had been dead for 2 months. Yeah. It is probable that the night the baby disappeared is the night the baby died. So if you'll remember, they kept trying to get money out of Charles Lindbergh, and he believed his baby was still alive. They found out later that he had been dead the whole time.
Didn't they call it like the crime of the century or something?
Yeah, at that point, that was,
and I actually
big deal.
think had something to do with the FBI coming on board full time or something with kidnapping cases.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that was this day in true crime for May 12th.
Happy Mother's Day to all y'all out there that absolutely believe this is a holiday I believe in, right? And I remember going to my first birthday party ever, and my mama made me bring a little plant to the boy's mom. I was so embarrassed, but she said, mamas need to be remembered too. And I believe that. So happy Mother's Day to my mama who birthed this beautiful hunk of monk or whatever I am. And happy Mother's Day to my beautiful bride who birthed my children. And but let me tell you about criminal moms. Right, because not all moms.
We're celebrating criminal moms.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about them, right?
We're moms.
I mean, it's the first inaugural episode of Criminal Moms, and it's our first Mother's Day together, right? What better time than Mother's Day to celebrate the worst moms in history? So we'll start with Mary Ball Washington, and he may have been the father of our country, but George Washington had a miserable mom. And while he was working 24/7 to keep the American Revolution alive, she was bad-mouthing the patriot cause to everyone. French military officers in Virginia even claimed she was an outright supporter of England's King George III. And she embarrassed poor George all the way to him becoming president, right? We'll go to another one.
Wait.
What?
She told him to chop down that cherry tree.
Yeah, probably so.
She did.
Yeah,
I think that proves it.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you see how a myth, can just travel.
Right? Sorry. So the next one, Mal Barker from Arizona.
Lord. We did a
Donnie
show on
Barker,
Mal.
Yes, we
a.k.a. Mal Barker. And yes, we have done a show on him before, and no one deserves this more than this fine lady. Mal made the FBI's public enemy list in the 1930s. J. Edgar Hoover called her the most vicious, dangerous, and resourceful criminal brain of the last decade. By making crime the family business, how's that for bad parenting, right? And, of course, all her kids became dirty-ass criminals, and car theft, kidnapping, armed robbery, bank holdups. They did it all, and Mal was right there with them. And, of course, it ended in 1935 in Florida with a shootout with FBI agents. I wasn't there and I have no direct knowledge, but I heard that she was having sex with her sons.
I also heard that.
So going to the next one, Mary Ann Cotton. Her name may not ring a bell with y'all, but it's scandalous in the United Kingdom. The 19th century nurse, dressmaker, and housekeeper had a secret hobby. She poisoned and killed 11 of her 13 kids, her 4 husbands, 2 lovers, plus 2 others, all for their insurance money. Arsenic was her weapon of choice.
At some point, did the insurance company stop paying?
Right. She racked up a body count of 21 before Scotland Yard finally caught up with her. And when Mary Ann Cotton was hanged in 1873, the rope was cut too short, possibly deliberately. And it was truly bad ending for a truly bad mom. Now, Zerelda, Elizabeth, Cole, James, Sims, Samuel, Jesse James' mom, right? Having a bad son doesn't automatically make you a bad mom, but Jesse James' mom was bad to the bone. And Zerelda Cole had many tough breaks in life. She hated her stepfather and married at 16 to flee home. That wasn't that early back then. Husband Robert James was a Baptist preacher. They moved to Missouri, where Jesse was born. Robert left during the California Gold Rush, where it's believed he died because he probably just didn't want to come back to her. She quickly remarried husband number 2. Disliked Jesse and treated him cruelly. The problem was soon resolved when he was thrown from a horse and killed. Zerelda then married husband number 3, a quiet man described as standing in the shadow of his outspoken, forceful wife. She wore the pants in the family. And during the Civil War, the James Samuel blended family was fiercely pro-Southern, pro-Northern militia, hanging husband number 3 in the family's yard, seriously injuring but not killing him. Then Jesse turned to crime, and when Pinkerton detectives went after the James gang, they were warned, if the boys don't kill you, the old lady will. They firebombed her farmhouse and killed her youngest son, blowing off her arm. Zerelda spent her final years turning the James farm into a tourist trap. For 50 cents a head, she gave guided tours in a Last bit of larceny, she sold old rusted guns that she claimed had belonged to Jesse. She actually bought them in the cheap secondhand shops and charged a fortune for them, which is why dozens of the private gun collections today still boast a firearm that was carried by Jesse James. Truly bad mom material from start to finish. And y'all, one of the shittiest moms of them all is Mama June from Here Comes Honey Boo Boo.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
If you saw the show, you understand. Enough said.
Yeah, that
Really?
was awesome.
So
I mean, that's harsh to put her on that list.
all you great moms, you rock. You get it done every day.
What was the boyfriend, husband, whatever his name on that show? Anybody remember?
Yeah,
The poor guy that was with her.
I actually never watched it. I saw her once. She looks like a pig. And yes, I'm being lookism now. And I don't mean like a pig body wise. I mean like her face. It looks like a pig.
Well, Tiffany's our young Jamie. So Tiffany, pull that up for us when you get a second. Find out what that name is. Mike will be thinking about that till tomorrow.
What was it? Something a bear. A sugar bear. Sugar bear? Honey bear? Sugar bear? Honey bear? I don't know what she called the guy. But that poor guy, I mean, he was no
the poor people that watched
prize, but
and they made money off that.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, they did for a bit. Well, guys, chance for us to maybe wish Mom well. Tell a little story about Mom.
I'm going to tell a story about an amazing mother that is my wife and our 3 kids. That's who I'm going to talk about today.
There you go.
And this is a great story. So when I was looking over the paperwork last night on what we were going over today, I wanted to think of a good, hilarious story that I could tell y'all about the Crazy Cajun, as I call her. Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you this one. We have 3 kids, for those of you that may not know. They're pretty close in age. They're only about 2 years apart. And when my kids were little, they, like any kids at 4 and 5 and 6 years old, they're running around the backyard all the time. Right. My wife is in the medical field, and my wife prides herself in functioning very well under pressure. So we would talk about it all the time, and she would say, "Oh yeah, if anything happened, I'm Johnny on the spot. It won't shake me at all. I'll get it taken care of, no matter what it is, as far as to do with our kids. A medical emergency, if you will." So one day I'm back there, I'm working out. I have my dumbbells out. My kids are running around being kids. I'm working, so I'm working out, and that's right. And my kids come running through my back porch, and this is going to sound like a bad story at first, but it gets funny after that. So they're running through there, and I stepped away for a second, and one of my kids trips on one dumbbell. And I mean, Brianna was going full speed, trips on one dumbbell and hits her head on the other dumbbell. Wow. Now, these are hex dumbbells. Yeah. And I mean, she hit. No time to stop herself, anything. So I didn't see it until she made impact, and you hear it. You hear that. Right. So naturally I'm like, oh shit. And I run over there and she's bleeding. Right.
Nothing bleeds like a head wound.
Nothing bleeds like a head wound. She hit pretty hard. So obviously I'm picking her up. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I maintain control. I pick her up and I go in the house, and my wife is in the kitchen, and she turns her head. And at that point it's really bleeding. Yeah. And she looks, and I hear the psycho scream, right? And I said, she's okay. Just give me a rag, call an ambulance. My wife goes into total shock, freak out. She can't remember 911's number. Literally looked at me and said, "What's the number?"
You're going to get in trouble.
I said 911. So she calls 911. And the operator gets on, and she says, "We need an ambulance." And she says, "What's your address?" And she's looking at me, and she says, "What's our fucking address?" Oh, she couldn't even remember the address. So long story short, everything ended up okay. Right. But I never let her live down the fact that the one time we had an emergency and you fell completely apart.
Yes, indeed.
But it goes to, I tell that story to say that my wife has been, my kids now my girls are graduating from high school in a week.
Right.
And my son is at LSU. He's a sophomore. And throughout all of that, I give my wife about 90% of that credit.
Absolutely.
Never missed an event. All my kids are in many extracurricular activities, and they are really shaped the way they are because of her.
And that was a great save because your ass was in
Yes,
serious trouble.
it was.
Happy Mother's Day,
Happy
Wendy.
Mother's Day, Wendy.
So that was mine.
Yeah, I didn't actually prepare for this. I'm going to give 2 shout outs. My mom for raising 7 of us and going through the things that she went through, and she's props for I can't say 100% making me the man that I am today, but my mom was the first one inducted to LSU Law School Hall of Fame, and she did that while she was pregnant with me. But she's I'll tell you, one of my fondest memories, y'all may not know this, but I have a green thumb, right? And I was like 5 or 6. My mama gave me a seed. We put it in a thing in the dirt, put it in the windowsill, and I remember running every day to check it. And a little seedling came up, and then we transferred it to a bigger plot, and finally transferred it to our garden. It was a squash plant, and that gave me a love for gardening.
Oh,
right?
man.
So my mom rocks. She's always been there, always been a rock, but not. I mean, she like to say she loved me first, right? And then I have Cindy, and who is like the ultimate mama bear about everything.
Boy, you telling me.
You all know this, and she will mama bear because she loves so much. And I can remember when we had nothing. I'm talking about nothing, but the kids never knew it.
Yeah.
Right? We had all the kids, and they were getting the best education, and she always made sure everything was special, and Lord, don't mess with her kids. She's the best mom in the world, and I love you, Cindy. You're awesome.
Yeah,
Happy Mother's Day.
She is.
Happy Mother's
Very
Day.
good. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
All right, no Buttafuoco jokes over here.
Nope.
So my mother, who was born Yolanda
Really?
Loretta DePinto,
Really?
DePinto.
the first member of her family to be born in the United States.
Really?
So all of her sisters, she actually had 2 brothers who died in the East River before she was even born. So she never met the 2 brothers
They
that
drowned?
were, they didn't have tickets. So when they would have been checked at Ellis Island, they would not have gotten through and would have been sent back. So they were told that you could jump off the boat and make the swim. And
They didn't make it.
she doesn't know enough about this. She should know the story really well.
your mom still alive?
My mom is 86 and
Wow.
still going and
Shout
still
out,
going
Mom.
strong. And she is
Living right
now. She was the enforcer in my house.
Oh,
growing
yeah,
up. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
She was.
Mine too.
She carried that wooden spoon that you stir the pasta with, and if you got on the wrong side of
Spare the rod,
whatever
spoil the
she had
top.
going on, she was after you with that spoon. And I had strategies that I would utilize to just wear her out so she couldn't get to me with the spoon. So I'd circle the dining room table, and then it'd be like a cartoon
you
thing
make it-
where
you make
she's
them
on one
matter.
side, I'm
Yeah.
on the other, and we're doing this whole thing. But one day, my little sister, who's 4 years younger than me, so I would have been about 8, and she would have been about 4, is in a little plastic kiddie pool in the backyard, and I decide to get in it with her and start screwing around. And my mother gets pissed and says, get out of Nancy's pool. And I'm like, Mom, I'm just in the pool, whatever. I blow her off. And she tells me again to get out.
Oh, yeah.
And I blow her off again. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye, she's making her charge, right? She is after. So I have to jump out of the kiddie pool and start running around the yard to try to get away with her. Well, she had these big clogs, these big wooden clogs, whatever, that were sandals. She's chasing me with that thing.
Oh, Lord.
And I mean, I think she's just shocked that she catches me or I slip. I don't know how she caught me. and she nails me on the top of the head. And I mean, it's a gusher.
Oh no, she busted your head.
My father comes home, and I've never heard. I mean, he didn't yell at my mother ever, but he's like, he calls her. We all call her Yoli. Yoli, what the hell are you doing? And so he looks at my head and he's like, we got to go to the hospital. So I get in the car with him, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He looks at me and he goes, repeat after me. You were running by the pool. I was running by the pool. When I tripped and fell on my head. Right. And Dad, you told me never to lie.
Yeah, right.
Son, you tripped and you landed on your head. I said, but Dad, the cut is all the way up here. How would I land? I couldn't do a complete. So somehow the doctors bought that story. But that's the only act of violence, Mom, and the statute of limitations is definitely worn off. But you are the greatest, the strongest woman I know, and just incredible.
Absolutely amazing. Where's she live?
She lives on Long Island and splits some time, goes to Florida in the winter. And
shout out to your mom.
And to my wife, Jerry Ann, who literally saved my life. But we won't we won't tell that whole story here. Just say I'm so proud. I admire her so much. She's my best friend. She's my rock. She's an incredible mother, and I'm very, very fortunate to have her. So love you, baby.
And she also hits you with clogs when you get out of line.
She's never struck me, I don't think.
We're all blessed. Jim, is your mama still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you need shout out to your mamas, shout out to your wives. From me, happy Mother's Day. And
shout out to all the moms.
And look, happy Mother's Day to Tiffany, who helps us out.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
And is an amazing mother
so happy
how many
Mother's
kids
Day
do you
How
have,
many kids do you
Tiffany?
have? You have 5 kids?
Five kids.
Wow.
There you go.
5 kids.
No, so happy Mother's Day.
She kills it.
You busy lady.
Yeah.
Without sitting down and know what the hell I would have done, right? Or would do. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Thank you very much.
Happy Mother's Day.
Mamas.
Is she business a mom?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I don't think she is.
No, she's not.
Okay. I was going to wish you happy Mother's Day.
Okay, but she's got a mom.
No, I can't.
She's got a mom. Shout out to your business's mom.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
So she had something to celebrate.
I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino.
For real life, real crime daily. Peace.
Show business.